We're going to call the December 9, 2025, last regular meeting of the year. You never know for sure. Last regular meeting of 2025. The invocation will be given by Pastor Jeff Powell. And the Pledge of Allegiance will be done by our chief, Chief Mansour. I know he's here. There you are. Would you stand with me, please?
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you and praise you for this beautiful day you've given us, Father. Thank you for your love, your goodness, and your care. And Father, I pray tonight that you would guide this meeting. Father, that your will, your plan, your purpose would be done, Father. May you just continue to bless our city as we grow. Father, watch over us in everything we do. And Father, I thank you for Danny, his service to you, his service to his family, and his service to his community, Father. Thank you for loving him and using him in such a powerful way here in Villa Rica. We make our prayer tonight in the name of Jesus, for it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Jeff Powell has been married to Donna Powell for 45 plus years, has 2 grown sons and 7 grandchildren, has been employed at Villa Rica First Baptist Church for over 18 years, where he is also a member, has held several positions. Currently, Jeff is the ministry pastor with responsibilities in missions and pastoral care. Jeff said he was honored to be here tonight to do our invocation. I know he had to run. They keep him real busy. All right, we have a few ceremonial presentations. We'll begin with the Villa Rica Lions Club Shop with a Cop donation. Miss Stacy Orr and Mr. Clint Chance.
My name is Stacy Orr, and I represent the Villa Rica Lions Club, one of the oldest service organizations in Villa Rica and one of the largest in the world. Some people may not know about the Lions, but we do a lot of service work because that is our motto, we serve. And we do that in a lot of different capacities through childhood cancer support, vision screenings for children in Villa Rica and Temple area. We do environmental, we have community gardens, but we also want to have an impact on our youth. And one way we want to do that is through the Shop with a Cop with the Villa Rica Police Department, because we believe in what you guys do. We believe in sharing joy, but being a community to give back to the kids. And we hope and pray that the blessings that these children receive through you guys is one that is long lasting and will make a difference from here on out in those children. So on behalf of the Villa Rica Lions Club, we are pleased to present you the Villa Rica Police Department and Chief Mansour $1,000 on behalf of our club to you guys to make an impact on those boys and girls that you will soon see. So we appreciate what you do.
Should we go down? Okay. Do we have any other Lions Club members here? If there are other members, please come up. You can imagine trying to fit that in that little chute thing. And it sure won't fit in the drawer either. Well, I don't know why I came back up here. Also have, am I on? I'm okay. A special recognition for Councilman Danny Carter. Danny served on council prior to, I think, me living within city limits in Villa Rica. I'm trying to, what were those years? What were the years you were on the first time? 4, 5, 6, 7. During a high growth time just before the crash, wasn't it, of the housing crash. And then took time off, and then he and I and another councilman all came on together in 2014. So we've served together for a good amount of years. I'm going to miss you. And we're going to have to delegate a few questions, like somebody on council has to say, is it budgeted? Where's the money coming from? And I appreciate that. I really do. But I'm going to miss you. Appreciate you serving all these years. I wish you and Linda to enjoy. I'm envious to a degree of enjoying some of that retirement. And you'll probably get to travel a little bit more and spend some more time with family. But come on down, because we got something for you. And you won't have to take my calls anymore. I may call you anyway, just for fun. So anyway, in grateful recognition, Danny Carter, for your dedicated service as a member of the Villa Rica City Council in Ward 1. It was called Ward 1. I go, is that a typo? No, it was Ward 1 back in 2004 and 2007. Okay, all right. And then Ward 5 from 2014 to 25. Your leadership, integrity, and commitment to the citizens of Villa Rica have made a lasting impact on our community. Presented this 9th day of December 2025. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you. I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to say hello. It's been quite an experience, and I would wish each one of you could go through that experience with me. 2003, I ran for City Council, Ward 1. And fortunately, Shirley decided to run for mayor and left her ward open. I got Ward 1, so I served 4, 5, 6, and 7 as Ward 1. And then along came a lot of things happened during my first term. We had a police department that was in disarray. It was a total mess. So we went in search of a police chief. We had narrowed it down to 2 people, 25-year man from up north, and this little whippersnapper out of Carrollton, Chief Mansour. And we fortunately chose Chief Mansour. He's been with us a long time, and I appreciate it, Chief. Appreciate all your service. There's been a lot of things going on, and I've enjoyed the experience. I'm looking forward to taking a rest for a while, let somebody else handle it, because I'm getting a little bit too old for this job. So during the other years, I've served with Leslie. I've seen a lot of people come and go. We've done a lot of things for the city. We finally got the North Bypass underway, and it's going to be completed this month. That's a good thing. We have had plans. You know, these things have been in the work for decades. They don't start overnight. They start way back when. They were talking about the North Bypass when I came on board the first term. And it took a while to get it going. So we got that done, and we've been talking about connecting Douglas County to downtown. So the parkway's underway, so we're getting that done too. So those are the things that, you know, my biggest accomplishment was bringing the chief on board. I appreciated that. And these other things are underway, and it's been quite an experience, and I've enjoyed every last second of it. I especially enjoyed coming over to Georgia in late '66 and meeting my soulmate, Linda. We got married in January of '67, so you see how fast that been married ever since. So it's been an experience, and I've enjoyed every last minute of it. Thank you.
20 years ago, this gentleman was on the board that hired me to come to Villa Rica. I'd been at Carrollton for 20 years, and I was looking for a chief's job and wasn't going to get that one, and I knew that. So I applied up here, and Mr. Carter was on the board that interviewed me, and one of the questions was, are you going to move up here? And I said, well, no, sir. My father-in-law just built my house. I'm not planning to move, but I will be here a lot. And like the mayor said, Mr. Carter's questioned us every time, and I tell people now, when you go up there, understand Mr. Carter's going to ask you, is it budgeted or where the money's coming from? So you got to know that answer going in. But I appreciate all the support he has given the police department and me in my career, and you will be greatly missed, sir. You will be greatly missed.
I'll be around, so.
I'm glad to hear that. So I have you a coin, and this is a Chiefs coin. And the Chiefs coin is given to somebody that has really proven their integrity and done the right thing their whole life. And it's an honor for me to give you that. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate you, sir.
I really appreciate it.
And Miss Linda, I've told him over the years he outkicked his coverage when he married you, but I'm proud for him.
I'd also like to take a moment to recognize Councilman Anna McCoy. This is her last meeting this year, and we'd like to thank you for your 4 years of service on the council. And I'm sure there's some citizens that will want to greet you personally afterwards as well. But
I have prepared something to say.
yes, then please do. Yes, ma'am.
And I prepared this not realizing this is We Love Danny Day. So I'm not taking away from Danny. He has served way longer than I have, been through so much more than I have. And he deserves a We Love Danny. He deserves a We Love Danny Day. So first off, let me, and I actually wrote it down, and I never have done that in 4 years, so I've been serious about this. So the last month, I've been trying to go in my head and decide what to write down and what to say on this day, and it was really, really hard to do. So today, I just started typing and was like, I'm not a particularly religious person, but I was kind of like, just let the words come out. And whatever I have to say, I want to say. And so I started off by thinking about the good and the bad. And I tend to be a pessimist, so I'm going to start with the bad. And I'm just going to sit here and say the bad is bad. Sitting in this seat, having to make a decision where there is no good option, having to go home and make peace within yourself. And Danny can probably attest to this, and even Leslie can test this better than, and Shirley definitely better than I can. When y'all started, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there was no, so there wasn't these constant attacks like they are now. But from attacks on social media to potential recalls to potential protests in front of your home, I cannot stress enough, sitting in one of these seats is not for the faint of heart. But sometimes the bad can turn into good. One of my first memorable interactions was with, who's not here tonight, but is with Doug Lane almost 2 years ago. It was the mayor's first meeting, and tensions were high. It was a contentious race. Everything was high and on red alert. And we exchanged some words that are not appropriate to say. And he looked at me sitting right, I remember it to this day. He looked at me sitting right over there and he says, "We know what you are." And I mouthed something that was completely inappropriate, so I'm not going to say it. And that perspective changed. He sat there for another 2 years. Over time, we became more cordial to each other. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to call Doug a friend. Don't get me wrong. I'm not having Thanksgiving at his house or anything. But eventually, Doug started making comments under his breath. My face kind of mimicked the comments. And it just kind of became more cordial. And we started to find more in common than differences. And it wasn't always so contentious. Also, the same thing with the people who have spoken out against the road on Anderson Cleghorn. It could get contentious at some point, but sometimes if you just listen, and I mean really listen, like hear people and find a common ground, and sometimes you have to compromise, and sometimes a really good decision is when no one gets exactly what they want in the end, unfortunately. But no matter who sits in these chairs, but differences can be worked out. And like I said, as long as both sides are willing to listen to the other side with purpose and find ways to compromise and negotiate, no matter who sits in these chairs, that is the only way anything will ever get accomplished on this council. As for the good, besides building relationships from perceived nemesis, and I do not know the plural of nemesis, so that's why that's bad grammar, I want to thank our staff. Of all the interactions I have had with any staff, past or present, never once has someone given off the vibe or acted like this is just a paycheck. Everyone has been here to make this city better, who have tried to make this city better. And I cannot be more grateful for them. They want to do a good job. They want this city to be at its full potential. And as I have said for 4 years, I do have a soft spot for them as a former government employee. But I am proud of all of them and what they have accomplished, especially over the last 2 years. I cannot mention, and as I move on, I cannot mention the good without mentioning the council. And I know all y'all think we hate each other and we don't agree on anything and anything like that, but since it's Danny's last day, I'll start with Danny and say, you do not get enough credit for keeping these meetings moving. You are always on top of emotion. And I have to say, of my 4 years, the one meeting you ran a year ago was the most efficient ran meeting of my last 4 years. And so you don't get enough credit for that. You always apply logic and common sense, and sometimes I think that gets lost in translation, but we appreciate. I've definitely learned from you. You have definitely taught me to let things roll off my back more, that this too shall pass, and I truly appreciate it. Shirley, in my experience, I do not think you have once voted for alcohol sales. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You stick by your convictions without fail. You are always positive. You are so kind and good-hearted. I think it was Tom who unofficially called you the conscience of this council, and he was 100% accurate. And then Matthew and Stephanie, I hate to lump you together, but I kind of have to, but each of y'all are important in your own right. Each one of you is a different side of a coin. I think I've described to both of you. Stephanie, you are energetic, you are feisty, and it does not take much to get me to champion a cause with you. Matt, you're logical and methodical, and it only takes maybe one sentence to bring me back down and go, oh, okay, that's the higher picture we're looking at when I get a little too bogged down in the details. Without the both of you, I would either be lethargic and ineffective or unhinged and ineffective. From both of you, I've learned teamwork and the art of effectiveness, even when we do not always agree. Not that I won't miss everyone else, but I will truly miss working with y'all. And while not the intention when I got elected 4 years ago, but my reality when I was sworn in is I'm embarking on this very unique journey alone. It was very isolating. My point is that the spouses behind everyone sitting up here, even the mayor, deserve appreciation. To Stephanie, Leslie, and Shirley, maybe I've just hung out with the wrong men in my life and y'all got something figured out I don't, but a man who is not intimidated by women in power is a very loving and secure man. To Danny and Matt, what is that saying that behind every successful man is a good woman? Y'all have two amazing wives that I admire so much. You do. And while sitting in these chairs is not for the faint of heart, being a spouse to any one of these positions up here is not for the faint of heart. And in the end, I'm not going to lie, I really wanted to be petty and just throw out grievances to everyone who's annoyed me for the last 4 years. And it's not just like on council or at the city or anything. I almost want to go back to like kindergarten and be like, that kid who pulled my hair, look at me now. But in this public forum. But I think that would be kind of cathartic and I would get some closure, but I am not perfect. I definitely have my faults, and I'm a big believer of people who are in glass houses should not throw stones. So now that I'm not in a leadership position, I can just go on social media like the rest of people and throw stones. And I'm so glad y'all laughed at that, because I made a note y'all may not. And to tell everyone it's a joke. On a more personal level, when I remember where I was when I started to where I am now as I leave, I am very proud of my growth I've made. I can leave this office knowing I do not owe my success to anyone. But on the flip side of that, my failure is my own too. I feel I handled myself with integrity and I voted by my conscience. For that, I am proud of myself. As I close this chapter and open another one, I am very happy to get my life back. While I hate losing, this is a chapter that I really needed to close. I'm grateful for this experience. I'm grateful to all the people I've met, and I wish everyone in this room and watching online hope, good fortune, and prosperity.
Let me say it's been a real pleasure serving with you, Anna. It really has.
I'm just glad
I've
everybody
enjoyed
laughed
it.
at my joke. But it has been great, Danny. Thank you so much. All of y'all, thank y'all so much.
Wish you the best. Don't go on social media. Don't do it. Anybody else before we move on to the agenda? Okay. We're going to move on to the adoption of the agenda. I think we might have an amendment or two. Yes, Councilman Warmoth.
I do have two amendments. I'd like to request an amendment number 1 for discussion of speed cameras and flashing lights at the schools within the city limits. And then number 2, to award bid for Highway 61 and Old Stone water line relocation.
Okay, so we'll put the discussion of school flashing speed lights as number 5 under I, governing body, I number 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 5. And Ms. Holman, where should we put the other one with the line replacement? We don't specifically have a public works section, I don't think. Okay. All right, so that'll be item K2. It's a water line, correct?
Correct.
It'll be a water line replacement, okay. All right, I entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt a revised agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move into the public comment portion of the meeting. There was a sign-up sheet as you entered the chambers. As you come to the podium, I was going to have name and address, but I do have you may say just your name if you'd like, as long as I have the address here, that helps us know if you are a city resident. Each individual will be given 3 minutes. Those addressing the mayor and council may feel free to speak openly on the matter you wish to bring to our attention, but we ask that you do so in a respectable manner, refraining from any uncivil discourse. As an elected body, we do not typically engage at that time in debate or question and answer during the public comments. This is your time. However, if you do have a question or concern that necessitates a response, if we don't do it during updates, we can connect you with the city manager or a staff member to answer your question either after the meeting or get back to you. And that's another reason to have your contact information so that we can either call you or that's the easiest rather than mailing something. And as your elected officials, we value the opportunity to hear from citizens and those who have a vested interest in our city. First, public commenter, Pamela White.
Good evening, everyone. Pamela White. First, I want to say to Anna McCoy, thank you so very much. When we first met, it was just kind of touch and go, I guess trying to get the feel for each other. But over time, I must say that you are a realist. You keep it real, and you do your job. We're gonna miss you, and in all your endeavors, I wish you the very best. I hope you don't go too far. Stay around. Some things that come up, run for it. We'll vote for you. Mr. Carter, I want to say thank you. We haven't had much intervention, but with each other, but we do appreciate your service, and I hope that you and your wife can just live peacefully and do a lot of happy things. And with that being said, I just want to also say, with what Mr. Carter touched on, was about things that have been in the making maybe for years and over time. And I wasn't going to bring up anything about the Parkway tonight, but I do want to bring forth that the Parkway may have been in the making for a while, but our community was not made aware of it. And our community was put in contracts that should not have been put in there because we own our properties. The city didn't own the property to put in there. So I just thought it was good to reiterate for people that didn't know or may not know that it may have been in the making, but we didn't know it. We didn't get notice or anything. And with that being said, I won't touch any more on that, but I just have two questions, just, from hearing, out in the public. We would like to know if there is a moratorium placed on the TAD. And if there's a moratorium placed on the TAD, we would like to know why. If it can be answered tonight, we are more than willing to stay after the meeting, as we always do. If Ms. Holman or Mr. Mecklin or our council member, Ms. Marchman, if someone could just answer it for us. We've been trying to get answers, but sometimes we don't get them. So just rather put it on public record showing that we are asking for clarity on this. But again, Anna, thank you. We're going to miss you. Danny, thank you very much. And y'all have a good evening.
Alita Farmer.
Good evening. Lita Adopts Farmer, Villa Rica, Georgia, Ward 1. Again, I know that tonight is a night of celebration for some who have served in the council for a certain period of time. And Mr. Carter, we appreciate your service. And Anna, like Pam said, wanted to express our gratitude for, we may not have always agreed with your decisions or your votes, but we do value the fact that you stood by your word and you stood on your beliefs, and you did not allow others to bully you, so we appreciate that. With saying all of that, a lot of things that I've heard about Villa Rica, in the city of Villa Rica, since I've been coming to the city council meetings is, people in Ward 1 need to get on board with change. And it was a hard for me to embrace this change because I've been in this city for 55 years. And I felt like we were losing part of what we have established here. And I still believe that growth should be able to happen, but I believe growth should be based off of fairness, transparency, and it should not be doing things that other people don't know and being blindsided. Ward 1 was blindsided. I am thankful that we are getting some new members on the council. I'm hopeful that change would, not just because of of who they are, but because I'm hoping that people will take note to how we feel as individuals in Ward 1. And again, I appreciate everybody who does work up there, but I want everybody to consider how we feel. And although it is hard to sit on your side of on that side of the desk, and I can only imagine, I just hope y'all remember how hard it is for people like us to possibly lose our homes.
Thank you. We're going to move on for public comment to council updates.
I have one.
Councilman March.
In the comments, there I've been getting calls and I have been asked about certain things. And one thing that has come up is something about a dog park. So for those that have asked me, I did find out about it. There is no plans to build a dog park on Macaulay Street from the information that I got. So whoever gave somebody that information is not correct at this moment. I can't say what might happen later on, but right now, there is no plans to put a dog park on Macaulay Street or on where the bypass is gonna go. That's what I got to say.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Councilman Warmoth?
I would just like to say Christmas on Main. I believe everybody here was there for the parade and the festivities afterwards. I just want to give a shout out to the staff. It went very smooth. Lots of citizens came out, enjoyed the night, enjoyed the parade, and yeah. So I just wanted to say thanks.
Councilman Montana.
I also just want to express my appreciation to staff and everyone who came out for the Christmas on Main and the parade. Staff did a great job. We had great weather, very winter-like weather, so it all worked out. Thank y'all.
And I'm sorry that I didn't make it. This is out of all the 30 years, this is the first parade that I've ever missed, and there was a reason that I missed it. But I really missed being it because I always enjoy it. Mm-hmm.
I was going to ditto some of that. Thank you to the Public Works Department that put up all the Christmas lights and everything, decorations downtown, and also Main Street, Recreation Department, and several members in there that worked hard to make sure the parade and the tree lighting and everything went well. We had a good turnout of citizens, and it was so nice just because of the community atmosphere. You know, unlike the big city and battling the traffic and the crowds and everything else, on the stage we were watching the children from our, adults and children from our community, dance and sing and everything else. So it was just a real nice community event for people that live right here and outside the county that come in for it. So it was nice. It was a little chilly, but hey, it's December, so it didn't rain. It didn't rain, so we can take chili. So thank you for all the employees and public safety, too. Public safety, it's numerous departments that are involved in making sure we're all safe and everything else and have a good time. Anything else, Council?
Yeah, and just to add off of that as well, a lot of the downtown businesses also mentioned to me how great their business had been. So people were stopping in the businesses in downtown, and of course, shopping small is always much appreciated for these small businesses, especially this time of year.
Shop local. Anything else? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. These are items that we went over in the work session, and they are grouped together to vote all at once, and I'll just read them off. Item 1, Library Advisory Board appointment. Item 2, Library Advisory Board reappointment, and we have Tara Whitman for the board appointment. Reappointment was Ms. Marilyn Glass. Mirror Lake Elementary School, Tyson Road speed limit reduction. And item 4, 2025 budget amendments, number 181 through 196. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the
Okay, I'll move to adopt the
consent.
consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Governing body, approval of the minutes from the November 4, 2025 work session and the November 11 city council meeting. Hopefully any changes have already been notified and called in. Anything else? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt those.
I move the approval of the November and December meeting.
Yeah, the November 4th and November 11th. Okay, thank you. That's a motion. Motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Also, a resolution, we got a complete report on this during the work session for this study for Safe Streets for All goals to work towards zero traffic-related deaths by 2035 and zero serious injuries by 2050. So we had a complete PowerPoint and report on that from Keck and Wood at our work session, and it was all designed so that we can make certain improvements, starting with, I guess, what you would call the most serious locations, and start making improvements over the years, both for vehicles and for pedestrians. I'll entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Item 3, 2026 City Council meeting calendar.
Okay, I tabled it to this month, but actually, I should have tabled it to January, and we should have set up the January schedule, because our two members aren't going to be on board to vote until January meeting. I think they should have a say-so in what the meetings look like for the next year, since they're coming on board for a 4-year period, so.
So could we keep it like it is, do the Sunday at 10 and then the 12, and then they vote on the January meeting? I mean, not Sunday, Tuesday at 10, and then the next Tuesday at 6 p.m., and then they vote what they want.
Keep this year's
That's
schedule.
what I would, that's my suggestion.
I would,
If
yeah,
it's okay with the council who'll be here in January.
Yep, my understanding from watching the work session, I was unable to attend, but from watching the work session, it was, we were going to approve for January only, and then we would decide what the rest of the calendar would be for the year. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I would make a motion that we continue this schedule we have for this year into January.
Just
and
January.
decide in January what
Yeah.
the rest of the year's like. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Item 4, small business ordinance. Mr. Mecklin.
Mayor and Council, I was, came up with this proposed ordinance because over the course of 30 years, this is a recurring problem that comes up to us over and over and over again. People coming, claiming that the city has harmed them in some small way, and we haven't ever really had a policy or procedure to follow, so it's just always been done on an ad hoc basis. The city manager would make a determination. It's usually within their spending authority as to whether to honor it or not. So I attempted to try and put this into writing so that we would have a formal policy of it. The alternative to this is bringing every small claim to the council for a determination. So that's the background of this. We continue always to have claims. People trip, people bust their tires on known potholes within the city and come to the city to make claims, and some of them are valid claims, some of them are not. The theory is that the city is better served on a valid claim to simply pay it rather than paying me twice that to argue about it. And that's generally the background of it. And answer any questions you have about the actual language that's in it.
Questions from council? Councilman Warmoth?
So I know you said that this had been going on for 30 years.
These types of problems.
These
yes.
okay, so why now though? Why is this coming before us
We
to
continue-
change now?
We continue to have claims that are made for us, and, I get asked, can we do this or not? And my answer is, there's not a policy in place. And, I'd like to be able to advise the city manager as to what we're doing. We continue to have claims made to us. But there are pending ones now.
Any other questions from council?
Better late than never.
I don't exactly recall, why did we not put this on consent? Was it just, it's maybe some members weren't here? I'm sorry. This is a question for the general counsel, I guess. Why did we not put this on consent? I don't recall if there was an objection to it.
I think it was that not everyone was here.
Ah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't have any questions. I don't have anything. I think it looks fine.
If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance for small claims for Villa Rica.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
I will state that I think it will continue to be our policy to vigorously vet any claims that come up and not approve them unless they truly, lawyers vernacular, are losers.
Is that a technical term, David?
It is.
All right, item 5, discussion school flashing speed signs. That may not be the technical sign for them. Councilman Warmoth?
So I did request, obviously, I amended the agenda for this to be added. And the reason being is, and I will be the first one to admit, the House bill that mentions about the school lights is a little confusing. It definitely interprets as though the lights are required, and that is not the case. But what I wanted to bring before council was I agree with what Danny had said during the work session about making sure that, or to go ahead and install those flashing lights within the school system or within the school zones that are within the city. We have 2 school zones that both have the speed cameras, and I would definitely like to see the school zones with the cameras to have the flashing lights just for transparency's sake. When the cameras are in operation, those lights would be flashing, and only when those lights would be flashing would the city issue the tickets for the speeding. The purpose of these speed cameras is to slow traffic down and to keep our children safe within the school zones when they are walking to school. And so that's the purpose of it. It's not meant to be a moneymaker. I know that that's what a lot of the complaints are within the city from citizens. So with that said, we only have flashing lights at Glanton Heinzman. That is the only school within the city limits where there are the flashing lights. Villa Rica Elementary does not have them. Mirror Lake, that I already mentioned, and Villa Rica High School, none of those have the flashing lights. So the consistency of having the flashing lights during the school zone hours is what I would like to see us work towards.
Comments from council or questions? Questions from staff, comments? Yes, Councilman Carter.
Yeah, I brought this up in the work session. Actually, I think it's very beneficial to the citizens as well as the school system that we have flashing lights so that the people know to slow down. You can get into that trouble situation, into a speeding zone before you know it if you don't see it coming. So I think we need those flashing lights in any school system in the city.
And just to clarify, The one that's by Bay Spring Elementary and Middle School area on 61 is controlled by the county and the sheriff's department. So that particular zone, both with the flashing lights and the speed camera, is controlled by them. The other ones within city limits at our city schools are by the city. I would say also, I'm in total agreement with having the flashing lights. If the idea is to protect children, give people as much as you can. It's real easy to get used to all these signs on the side of the road, but when you see something blinking, it tends to draw your attention to it, even if you're on the phone or listening to the radio rushing to work. And so anything we can give that will help people see, even some of the speed zone sign times are hard to see if you're on 61. You're going, I think it's 50, it goes down to 45? And
No,
the-
it goes down 50.
Is it 50? It used to be lower, then they raised it a little bit. The school is back from the road a little bit. But even that one, if you're going that speed, it's really hard to see the times, but the flashing lights are on. So even if you don't see the times, you know it's during that period of the beginning of school or end of school when those are flashing. So I'm sure that would be helpful for the other schools as well. Any other comments from council before Chief is wanting to speak?
Well, I just had a question. Is that, well, first off, I'd like to preface that they're the county schools. There are no Villa Rica city schools. And Glanton Heinzman and Villa Rica Elementary or Carroll and Mirror Lake is the one in Douglas. My question is this for you, Chief, is there a reason why, because I know going on 78 in Winston, I'm pretty sure they have the flashing lights, and as Stephanie said, Glanton Heinzman has them. Is this a school board question, why is there no consistency among either of the school boards?
The flashing lights are part of, you can get that with the cameras. They ask you up front about that. We have done research now, and if we decide to get them, I think for both of the speed camera zones, it would be around $25,000. We can use the money that has come out of those tickets. Currently, we can use money that will be generated later from those tickets, like as a payment plan thing. We can do it that way. And then we've also spoken with DOT this week about the camera systems, and they also have a program offered that we may can get it through them at no cost. So there's 3 different ways we can do it. We have no problem getting it done. That's not at all it. We have no problem doing it. We just need your guidance to do that. Now, the third location that doesn't have the lights, you said, was Villa Rica Elementary?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I think, and I didn't go over there today, is there flashing lights for the pedestrian crossing?
That's correct. So
But they're
there
not
are.
on all the time, they're only on when they're coming through the
That's
pedestrian
only,
crossing?
that's correct. That's only
Okay.
when, that's not during the school zone hours.
Right,
For those flashing lights, that's only for the pedestrian,
okay. All
the
right.
pedestrian
So,
crossing.
obviously, we can do those there too. I don't think we can do those through the company though, because it's not a camera, but we can
Right.
do that. We can still use the monies, but we just won't do it through the company. So we can come up with ideas and present it to you guys in January as far as what our options are, and then you decide which one you like best, and we'll move forward.
Any other questions for Chief while he's there?
Thank you, Chief.
And I know I'm beating a dead horse, so sometimes when something gets in my head, and this is going to sound stupid, but what is the logical reason why this is not a school board issue? Why aren't they paying for it?
Because the school board does not get revenue.
Okay.
Okay, and that's part of the program is the law enforcement, the city is the ones that gets the revenue, so therefore they're responsible for fixing the cameras, doing any work that's done on those. Obviously, the revenue is, the company gets revenue because they're the ones that spent the money to put it all together, but the school does not get the revenue.
And is this that thing we did a couple of years ago with the civilian tickets? Sorry, is this the thing we did a couple of years ago with the civilian tickets, or is this different?
I don't understand civilian
oh,
tickets.
sorry.
These are tickets that are not criminal. These are civil tickets. tickets.
That's what I meant.
That's what you mean. I see what you mean.
That's
So these are tickets that don't apply on your insurance or on your license. They don't count points against your license. They're just
Okay.
like you said, civil tickets.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But the cameras are fairly recent. We had flashing lights for school zones years ago. So that's an option we could, well, I'm not saying whether we had them here. They've existed for years, and they've been down on the Bay Spring one, the county one's been there for a long time, prior to speed cameras. So there's nothing that kept us from, really, I may not know, but as far as the school system doing it because of revenue or not, there wasn't any revenue back then. I guess unless a police officer could catch you and there could be revenue. But there could have been blinking cameras anytime over the years. It's just, it got brought to our attention because there's a lot of tickets, there's revenue coming in. We're thinking, wow, people don't even realize maybe they're in a zone. What can we do to make it safer?
The camera at Glanton, I don't know.
No, it's not a camera
I mean,
that's
not the
at
camera,
Glanton.
the flashing lights. I
Right.
don't know who put those in, or I don't know
Right.
if that was the school system or what. But
And my only reasoning for bringing up the fact that Glanton Heinzman has those flashing lights is the consistency within the city limits. Just making sure that we're being consistent with the flashing lights.
okay.
Yeah, within the city, I wasn't referencing that we run the schools. It's a county school system. But the schools that are within the city limits of Villa Rica, I will often refer to as Villa Rica schools, even though the government, our entity of government is not running them. But yeah, the consistency is an issue. But are y'all good with something coming back in January? Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. All right, we're going to move on to community development. Item 1, ABL-07-25, Walmart Stores East. This will require a public hearing. Good evening, Ms. Cox.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Whitney Cox, Licensing Specialist. I have an application for an alcoholic beverage license for Walmart Stores East LP. This is actually just an agent change for the standing license to sell retail packaged malt beverages and wine. Our ordinance requires the corporation as well as a local designee or licensee be listed on the license. So according to staffing changes and things of that nature, a new person must be appointed as licensee. Therefore, they must go through all of the procedures for applying for a new alcoholic beverage license. So we have Mr. Patrick Eller that has complied with all of the requirements for licensing. He's passed the background check through our police department, complied with all legal noticing that is required, and staff recommends approval for the agent change.
Any questions for staff? The applicant is here?
He is.
Okay. Hi, would you mind coming up? Thank you. Any questions from council for the applicant? I'm going to defer to the city attorney. We have a little spiel that we usually always do with alcohol licenses. You may have heard it before.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mecklin.
Good evening. Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
The question that I'm always charged with asking is if you are aware of the fact that the city of Villa Rica aggressively enforces its alcohol ordinances, and that it has been our past practice for our police department to always have a routine policy of checking, and that would include sending in underage people attempting to buy alcohol at your establishment, and if you have policies in place to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, and you will make sure that all of your staff people, which Walmart has plenty of, understand what their obligations are to check IDs before they're selling any type of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
And just one other thing, please give Mr. Hubert my regards.
Sure will.
The biggest star in the store, right?
Exactly.
Thank you, appreciate it. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of this license? Going once, going twice? Is there anyone that wishes to speak against the issuing of this license? All right, we'll revert back to the council, and I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the alcohol license application for Walmart Stores East LP, located at 600 Carrollton, Villa Rica Highway, Villa Rica, Georgia, 30180.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, item 2, VA-05-25 variance request by Milan Patel. Mr. Patel, did I pronounce your first name correctly? There you are. Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Carter.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Brecca Carter. I am the interim Director for Community Development for the City of Villa Rica. So before you, we have an item that came before the city at the November 11th date. At that time, this particular variance was tabled till this meeting for the applicant to communicate with staff for building department and community development to ensure that they can meet the requirements of the code and address the specific variance requests. So I will, for the sake of the public and the council, will go back through that that presentation. Okay. So yes, this variance request is for a building located at 113 Commons Way. It is one of the 4 presumptive licenses for new alcohol or liquor stores within the city. This particular location, I'm sorry, we can keep going through. This particular location, as you can see, if you scroll down just one, shows the existing building materials on the property. The code requires that any liquor store have full brick siding on every fascia. In this particular case, you'll see that you have stucco fascia towards the north top part of the building, and then you have the stone water table or the stone masonry products at the lower portion of the building that wraps around the building itself. So a little bit of history about this property. It was built in 2005 as a retail strip center that had housed about 8 to 9 uses or retail spaces within that building. They have a commercial permit currently for the interior renovation and a portion of the exterior renovation. They have been working with the building department on the stop work order that was issued and since lifted. The applicant is, of course, waiting to move forward with the completion of the construction and renovation of the property contingent upon the approval or denial of this request. And this goes kind of through a variation of the submittals we received from the applicant based on the original variance request. Okay, current conditions. We took a look at that earlier. So this shows you all 4 sides of the building. A major portion of it is already brick. You do also have stone, and then you also have stucco on that porch portion of the building that wraps around on the back and on the front. Here is the proposed, there are actually 2 options. One proposed that has a brown portion at the top, which is the faux brick that they are proposing on the front of the building. Or, of course, if they have to do the brick option, they would do that as well. What we'd received since the last meeting is a letter from the engineer. The structural engineer report talks a little bit about some hardship they may have in regards to putting brick on the fascia portion, which is the porch portion where the stucco currently is. And the applicant, of course, is here to talk a little bit more about that, and because they, of course, have the burden of proof for this request. So at the end of the recommendation, staff is continuing on with the denial in coordinates with the current code.
Questions for staff? I know the applicant is here, so if there's no questions for staff at this time, we'll have the applicant come up.
When we do these to you guys again, this is the Nietzsche Ha type samples of some brick and some of the wood colors.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a bigger.
Yeah, here's a bigger, this is a bigger piece of, wood. Yeah.
Good evening, council, everybody.
Evening.
So, as Ms. Brecka has pretty much shown the image and everything, the hardship regarding, we're gonna start with the, if you can see the stucco and water table stone at the bottom. That's our, of course, right now, it's the first concern that, the stucco fascia, it's already there on the porch side, and the water table stone at the bottom. That's already been existed, and we want to definitely variance for that if you can just allow that to be there as is, because majority of the part of the building, almost 70 to 75% is already brick, but because this was built as a strip center back in the day, 07, they did put a water table stone at the bottom, and stucco was used as a porch, so we can't, there's no possible way for us to put a brick. And I think Mr. Tracy did address that issue last time as well, that it's just not, it's not possible to put a basically hanging bricks on top of the porch. So that's our first variance.
That's the light colored part right there at the top, the fascia.
Yes, fascia in front. It's just at the front. There's nothing on the sides of the building. It's just right in the front of the building. Well, a little bit on the side, actually, yes. Yeah. And the water table stone is all across the building, all four side, because it's at the bottom, very bottom. Yeah, and where it used to be built, the windows and the doors, we also made it kind of similar so it doesn't mismatch, so it looks that it's all across and it's not just odds and ends kind of thing. Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit about that. So on the stucco piece, of course, we're asking for the variance there.
If y'all wouldn't mind, and I'm sorry, go ahead since there's a number of you.
Okay.
Mr. Rickman, Mr. Bell, I don't have everyone memorized. I'm working on it. Mr. Kevin Bell, Michael Rickman, we know him a little better. If you'd go ahead and introduce yourself and just say what part you play. You're the contractor. It'll be helpful.
John Stewart, and I'm with Suntan Construction.
And stay nice and close to that mic.
Yes.
For the benefit of the people not here. Thank you, sir. Adjust it if you need.
So the stucco, as Tracy mentioned last meeting, very difficult to change that in any way. It was part of the original building structure. It matches the other buildings around the space. So we are asking for a variance to just leave that alone. We're going to paint it, clean it up, make it look nice. But there's virtually no way to hang brick, as Milan said. So that we asked to leave alone. The brick, the building is four sides brick, with the exception of that new bump out area. And we're going to paint all of that brick so it's all consistent and matches. And then the stone table at the bottom, again, also matches the other buildings around that space. And that will match, we've already matched where the old doors were that were taken out to meet the ordinance. And again, we ask that just remains, because if that's the hardship with that is if we try to take that out, you literally are taking all the brick off that whole building, which
the stone supports.
Yeah, it would be just about easier to tear the building down at that point. So we are asking that can stay and the stucco can stay, and we'll clean those up and make them look nice so that it's a fresh look on the building to look like that. And then I don't know if you want to speak a little bit.
Sure. Michael Rickman, architect, helping them out. I'll speak to the
kind of the new options for the pieces, entry points here. This one is an Ichiha. It's a fiber cement. So what you're looking at is on the left and right pilasters, which are the darker pieces. That is the brick Nichiha. So it's a concrete cement shaped like brick. The white portion at the bottom is also the Nichiha, which is a fiber cement shaped like brick. And then everything above it is more so the wood pattern that is kind of passed around right there. But it is all the Nichiha product. And that product is super durable product. We use it a lot on the fire station, other places. A lot of higher education facilities we use it for. So it's a good product and it's super durable. The other option, if you want to scroll down to show, this is just where it is all brick now. So the difference would be aesthetically, it still looks like a lot of brick. I think that the change here would be a requirement to support that brick veneer. So the Nichiha is attached to the actual sheathing and the wall. The brick would have to have an additional concrete footing to support that veneer, and then it's got to be tied back to the building, so you're disrupting the parking lot, the asphalt, to install that there, the soil capacity we'd have to check and everything. So it's a little more intervention to the parking lot and a little more work to it. Architecturally speaking, I think they both look good. Like I said, we've used the Nichiha and a brick option, both the products on the fire station, and we can vouch for their products as durable. They're super durable. So that kind of breaks down what the two, I guess, options are. Were there any questions on any of that, or did that make sense?
Questions for Mr. Rickman, architect? Or you could, actually, for anybody that's standing there. Yes, Councilman Momtahan.
Excuse me. All right, Mr. Rickman, are you familiar with the letter prepared by Amanda Cherry for the Abode Engineering that's been submitted as an application?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and I know, I understand, if this is, let me know if you, anyway, you can let me know if you feel like you can answer this or not. But, so, and on paragraph 2, if maybe staff could bring that over. Yeah, so paragraph 2, the last sentence there, maybe it's the second last sentence, says, for context, full brick on the 25-foot tall entrance wall would weigh approximately 1,000 pounds per linear foot of foundation, and a thin brick veneer would be approximately 160 pounds per linear foot of wall, an order of magnitude less. And so I guess what I'm trying to figure out, and if maybe staff can flip back over to the two examples if you could. Thank you, ma'am. Do either one of these options reflect that kind of that statement about one being the 1,000 pounds? Like, is that the brick option, the 1,000 pound, or is that?
That is right there. That would be the one that had the heavier facade and veneer.
So that proposal is a full brick. It's not a veneer or a Nichiha, right?
That is a full brick.
Okay.
Correct.
And so the one above it is the 160 pound. Right. That's it. Okay.
All the Nichiha product.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much. That was my question.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that again pushed us to this way with the Nichiha, that's part of the hardship here, and again we can have Tracy speak a little bit on it if we want to, but that building, once the demolition was done and we started tearing into that building and the inspection team got in there, there were so many structural problems with that building that's why the structural engineer's letter came to be. Tracy even kind of threw up his hands and said, get a structural engineer in here, have her evaluate this building, do what she says, do what they say, which we have done. That put a huge hardship on the build itself because there's literally another building now framed inside that building. Doing brick on especially the upper portion, we have to cut through that roof system, which we do not want to do.
Would that compromise the roof?
It's trusses. It's old wooden trusses. It's not a metal structure building. Those trusses span 60 feet across. We've done a lot to support those trusses now, all on the inside with all kind of framing. And to cut and bring that brick all the way through to that 24-foot height cuts through those truss systems on that side of the building. We don't want to do that. Again, we've done a ton of new framing to stabilize that building, to get it where there's no wind shear issues, where there's no racking of the trusses moving around, to make that building stable. We're concerned that doing anything more with the foundation or that roof system is just going to destabilize the building and create other problems. So that's part of our hardship request here, is that the Nichiha is a much lighter product. It's as durable as brick. It's made out of the same type material. It looks like brick when it's finished, so it's just a good alternative to all that weight. And that's what I got about that.
Okay, I'm just going to say this because I was on council. A number of us were when we developed this whole thing about what was going to be required of liquor stores. Everything from inventory to the building. We tended, and if any of y'all disagreed, to speak up and say so. When we developed this, most of it was thought that it would be ground-up buildings. You know, it'd be vacant land, and there was a reason for the four-sided brick, and this is my perspective. If any of y'all have other perspectives, what council wanted to avoid was a bunch of cheap liquor stores all over town. Okay, so it was pretty high bar set for anyone had to make significant investment into opening one of these liquor stores, which was going to be in 4 quadrants. There'll only be 4 presumptive licensees that were done by lottery. We all good on that? Y'all remember when we had that discussion? So the material, my best recollection is that the reason we did it this way is we wanted a quality product. And I don't know if y'all remember, well, you probably know more than I do about it, but do you remember way back the years when they did some siding on housing? It was probably as bad as particle board if it wasn't particle board. You may have seen some of it in Florida and elsewhere, humid places, and it was crap, right? So what cities and counties would do is they'd make it so you couldn't build with that anymore, right? Because it was not a good product. That was before Hardy Plank. Whole different animal, right?
Yeah.
And now there's siding that we will allow that wouldn't have been allowed in previous times because it didn't exist. The siding that existed wasn't okay, just like the little cheap vinyl siding that will melt in the sunshine. It appears, based on the fact that this is on the fire station, is it also on the Chick-fil-A? The new Chick-fil-A?
It is.
Okay, all right, because I thought so. I thought I had heard somebody say that. Look, this is my perspective. If it's a quality product, and it meets the intent of what we were trying to do. We want something the quality, we want durable, we want the investment to be something that we're proud of in the city. Liquor store, sorry, I don't even drink. But you know what I'm saying, what we're trying to avoid, and that there would be good investment in it, and they wouldn't be these little ones all over the city with bars on the windows and whatever. So my perspective is, at some point in the future, we probably ought to even go back and look at the ordinance and say, are we okay with another product? If it meets what we were trying to do, but we didn't even know that product, we weren't even familiar with it, so we probably wouldn't have even okayed it. And that the desire behind the four-sided brick was quality, durability, appearance. I can see where a variance would make sense, especially on a pre-existing building, and based on the engineer's report with the pre-existing things that exist in the building itself, that I see that as a hardship. That's my take. Yes, Councilman Warmoth.
I'm going to keep it short and simple here. The only reason that there was pushback at the last meeting was just because what was being presented within our work packet or our agenda packet was not exactly what you guys were giving to us.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys bringing it back and doing your due diligence and having all your ducks in a row, and I'm ready to move on to the public hearing.
I appreciated you guys actually through the right direction, because I'm glad that we had the engineers came out as I said, from even Trace's perspective. So they looked out some more stuff, and now, of course, there's sturdy building. I mean, it did cost it, but now it's more sturdier than what it was before. So definitely it was appreciated. Glad it happened. Don't like to table, but glad it happened, kind of.
Anything else from council for the applicant
Yeah.
and helpers?
Okay. Okay, the ordinance also specifies limited access to the store, but this store has more than the number of doors that I think the ordinance allows. Is that correct? What are we gonna do about that?
The code requires that they have one entrance and one exit, and they have that. So all of the other doors that you currently see, they will be closed off from access, from any ingress or egress.
I think they're still showing up on down at the end of the store on these pictures. So why is that door still there?
Well, they haven't completed the work quite yet, because I know the applicant was waiting to.
So they
get the
will
result
close
of
off
this.
everything but the main entrance and exit?
Yes, sir. That's a requirement of the
Okay.
code. Yes, sir.
And a good requirement with one entrance and exit in a liquor store.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
I have a
Yes,
question.
Councilman Marchman.
When you first started, you said you're supposed to have a standalone building. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
So is this considered a standalone building?
It will be. So the 8 or 9 tenant spaces that were there previously are the current. There are several that are there now. I think maybe 2 that are left. Those will be closed off, and the only use that can go there is the liquor store. I believe the applicant has expressed that he would have like an administrative small office for the liquor store and a storage room. But those are the only things that we have anticipation of seeing in those drawings that they will be building out in the space. But the only use, the only tenant, the only license that will be granted would be for the liquor store.
Okay. What is your reasoning? I mean, I read your denials, but what is your actual reason for the denial? Is it things that is on the ordinance and they've gone beyond that and want us to vary from that, or what?
Right, so we make our recommendation based on the request that comes in, and we judge it against the code. And if the code does not allow staff any latitude to recommend an approval, we don't make that recommendation. But it is, of course, these processes that allows the applicant to come prove their case to the council to either for you all to uphold the staff's recommendation, or you can state, okay, they have a legitimate hardship, because that would be the only thing that the council could say, okay, if they have a legitimate hardship, we will approve this.
So do you see a legitimate hardship in this?
I think it's practical based on the engineer's letter. We received it maybe, several days before, about a week or so before our work session. So the timing was a little bit off. We'd hoped to get this up front. But I think it's a legitimate, after speaking with our building department director, addressing the building type materials and things like that, the weight, the structural integrity of that building. So I think it can be a legitimate request, but of course it is the applicant's burden of proof to present that to you all if you determine that it is as well.
You also did make, if council did approve, you offered 4 recommendations at the bottom of page 9.
Yes, we always try to give the council an out within the parameters to ensure that if all things can be handled within the code. And those, as you can see, all building, fire, life safety requirements, zoning have to be upheld. Architectural treatments of the newly facade section will be brick and stone. Brick meaning what they are proposing now, and the stone could remain. The existing fascia will be allowed to remain. The existing stone table will be allowed to remain. Parking lot should be restriped in accordance with the code's requirements, and the final facade will be approved by community development.
As the applicants approved, have they agreed to these?
I would hope so. They've been given the staff report about a month in advance. So
they're behind you, so
I
I'd like to know. They've read them and they agree to them?
Yeah, I mean, again,
we have now.
No, again, we are, so all the 4 steps, we are definitely doing it. Even before, even if it was brick or not, the first time, we were doing the restrapping or the coloring and everything. So, yeah, it's been approved, yes, 100%.
Okay.
Councilman Montahan, oh,
Sorry,
go ahead, and
quick
then Councilman
clarification on
Montahan.
number 2, this one is saying that the new addition would be all brick veneer, correct? Not the Nichiha.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, so the condition here, as the alternative, is not include, it still will require the brick.
For the new facade that's
For the
being
new
built,
facade.
yes.
Okay.
Because that portion was something added by the applicant, not a part of the existing building. There are three portions that
Is that
the
that
council's
part?
making a decision on. Would you mind going to the photo? Up one more. I'm sorry. Right there. So the newly constructed entrance is new. So of course, any new facade that's being proposed would have to meet the code based on the all brick. So even with if the council approves it, you can require that be brick. You can require that it be the Nishi-High. You have the discretion to determine either way. The hardship letter does mention about the weight and concerns there structurally for the building and the roof. But staff typically, we do not change a recommendation after it's been given. It is up to the council to determine how to move forward from there.
Okay,
Councilman
then-
Montahan.
Okay, yeah, so a couple of questions, and I'll ask you my original question before that issue got raised first. I mean, if the council were to approve this tonight, I know we have at least 3 other liquor stores, and they may have already been submitted. I don't know their status. But based upon, I guess, the hardship, do you see any presidential value in these other applicants are now going to point to this case and request relief based upon, because, well, you did it for these applicants, we should do it for us? I mean, do you see that issue? And
Well, I mean, they
Forthcoming?
very well can request a variance and say, well, you gave it to them. But they likely don't have the same hardship. They're not going to have the same hardship because this is an existing building versus a ground up. But that doesn't mean that I've gotten a request, a call
Yeah.
about one of the new liquor stores coming in about a variance opportunity. But
Okay.
nothing's been formally submitted. So yes, they can submit for the variance, but I wouldn't state that in the staff report that it has the same hardship. Not
Okay.
at all.
And then I guess my question then, based upon what I guess we just talked about here, in the proposed conditions, I guess I would just, if we want to, without trying to make it something on the fly, but if I wanted to say, I'm going to permit them, the applicant, not to have the brick on the new part, which is the entrance area, what do you have? We have proposed language that we can say that would essentially require them to do the Nichiha as they are proposing here. Because what I don't want is to give, you don't have to do brick, and then they come back with all stucco and say, well, the council said we have to do brick. Here it is. That's my concern at this point.
Right. So we would address the front facade of the newly constructed portion of the building it can be the Nishi-High or the faux brick. We say the Nishi-High specifically since that's what they are proposing, if you want to approve that, to allow them to have the Nishi-High on the newly appointed facade on the building. So that is a change that you most certainly can make.
So if we stated that, for example, if I'm just trying to think on the fly here, the condition stated architectural treatment of the newly constructed facade section may be brick or Nichiha facade, would that
Yes.
satisfy your?
It would.
That
It
would give
it-
staff the ability to.
Yes, it would.
Continue
Yes, it would
review.
give it would give the applicant, if you all decide to allow for them to install the Nishi-High or the brick at whatever point along the facade that they wanted to do that.
Right, and I guess my concern is then, and if they come in and they have all stucco, not saying y'all would, but just if they
Right,
could,
right.
then you would feel that's sufficient enough to say, no, you are allowed brick or Nichiha, period, that's it.
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
only on that portion.
Right, and only on that portion, correct.
So then that if that portion is handled, that's that portion of the facade. There's also the brick at the bottom. I mean the stone.
The stone.
At the bottom to just address. We just need to address it formally in the variance.
Yeah, I mean, and continuing on with that sentence, it does provide for that, so that's why I
Right.
didn't, so, okay.
Yeah, and condition number 2.
And then the stucco to remain.
All right, anything else from
Thank you,
council? I'll entertain a motion. Oh, we gotta do a public hearing? No, I won't. No, I won't. Stop. Stop. We need to have a public hearing. I think y'all are done right now. I won't make you stand there during the public hearing. Anyone that would like to speak in favor of this variance request? Allow 3 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to speak against this variance request? All right, council, any other questions for staff before we go ahead? All right, I'll entertain a motion. Yeah, let's give it to somebody who can figure out how to adjust the wording in condition number 2. It's not too hard.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the requested variance, section 4-40, from section 4-401 for the property located at 113 Commons Way, case number VA-05-25, subject to the 4 conditions proposed by staff and altered during discussion here. First condition being all building, fire, life safety, and zoning requirements shall be met in accordance with all applicable city codes and regulations. Second condition being architectural treatment of the newly constructed facade section may be brick or the Nichia product presented at this meeting, consistent with the intent of section 4-401 and the existing brick facade of the building. The existing stucco fascia section is allowed to remain. The existing stone water table is allowed to remain. Number 3, the parking lot shall be restriped in accordance with the code's requirements, subject to review and approval by the Community Development Department. Number 4, the final facade improvement shall require design review approved by the Community Development Department.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you. All right, item 3, VA-06-25. This is also a variance request by Smith and Kindred Group, and this will require a public hearing.
Good evening once again. My name is Brecca Carter. I am the interim community development director here in Villa Rica. This variance before you, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. But the variance before you is for a property currently vacant located at 117 Connors Road. It is 1.12 acres, and I believe I've got a presentation to this one. No, never mind. I'll go through it. If you'll scroll down, it should be on here. The applicant is requesting for well, let me start with the code. The code requires that along any public right-of-way where there is parking facing towards the street, it requires that there be a 20-foot wide buffer, and that is for screening from the road to the parking lot. Sorry, I have to scroll in a little bit. Yeah, you scroll in just a little bit. Yeah, I got to scroll in, zoom in. Yeah, no worries. Yes, so that is the request, and the reduction at the smallest area goes from 20 feet to 5 feet on the proposed location, and that is on the north end where the property abuts Connors Road, and then also on, oh, here we go, perfect. We can let it live here. If you'll zoom in just a moment. Leanne, thank you for being so sweet. So, as I mentioned, on the north end of the property, there's a portion along the east side that kind of curves up along Connors Road. A majority of that has a 20 foot wide buffer, but there's a portion that goes down to about 5 feet. We saw no perceived hardship here. and we recommended denial for that request. However, on the west side of the property, there is a 10-foot landscape strip required, and they're asking for a reduction from 10 feet to 8 feet, and staff was amenable to that. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions from council? I remember going all through this last week. Did you just say that the portion that's on the east side generally has 20 feet and then goes down to 5 feet?
So any portion of the property, so if you go from the west point where you see that first tree down midway of the building on the east side, and it goes north up to Connors Road and back west along Connors Road, that full portion is required to be 20 feet. 20 feet wide to screen that parking lot from the road. And they, the building is about 5,600 square feet, and they propose parking. They, I understand they don't have a particular use at this time. They may be able to speak on that tonight as well. But that is the request pretty much overall.
Any questions for staff from council? Even though we can revert back. I know the applicants are here. So I see Mr. and Mrs. Smith out there. Would y'all come on up? And Little Smith, too. Little Gary. Is that Little Gary?
This is Little Gary.
That's
All right. Okay. All right, so first I want to introduce ourselves. I'm Gabrielle Smith. This is my husband, Gary Smith, and this is Gary Smith Jr. We are the owners of the property we are here to discuss today. And we are also the owners of G2 Express Car Wash that sits right next door to this current property. I also want to introduce our partner here, our HRC civil engineer partner, Dale Ray, who's here as well, who's working with us along with the civil engineering. They were also our partner for the development and design of G2 Express Car Wash there in Mirror Lake. So a couple things here. Number one, we provided a copy that provides more of a visual representation of what this landscaping variance will look like. So a couple things to highlight here. When we take a look at this, and I know the focal point of today's variance meeting is about the landscaping variance that we're requesting. But what you have in front of you here is that proposal of what this landscaping area will look like with the new building that we are looking to bring next door to the car wash and to the Mirror Lake community. And we wanted to make sure that the council as well as staff had a more visual representation of what we are asking and what it will look like to better understand what this means. So a couple of things. The reason why we are asking for this, and our position is this would be considered a hardship. We are working with that amount of space there next door to the car wash, and our objective is to bring in national retail brands to this retail plaza. The proposal is for us to build a retail plaza next door that will attract some of our national brand tenants that will see this area as beneficial and see it as being attractive. But more importantly, the hardship would come if we are then required to adhere to this landscaping variance that would then introduce those hardships, because then we will be required to build a smaller building and we would have much smaller parking Okay, so our hardship is we want to take advantage and maximize the opportunity of bringing this retail plaza to the area that will attract those national brand tenants. For us, we want to be able to do that by meeting some of their core requirements. I know many of us in Villa Rica have heard of proposed businesses that wanted to come to the area, but they couldn't find things that met parking requirements, or there were limitations with building sizes. So we're saying we want to avoid that. Let's not close the door before we have the opportunity to bring in some of those national brands to the area by asking for the city's support in granting the variance to allow us to build a bigger building, but more importantly, to have more parking in the area. Another thing that we're looking to do is, in lieu of this requirement, we are willing to put more landscaping. I know one of the staff's position is that we would have an issue with being able to provide adequate landscaping to provide that buffer. With our proposal, we are actually going to bring more landscaping, more beautification to the area while providing the separation from the road and parking, while also making the area even more beautiful. Another thing we want to get out of this is we as citizens, Gary and I are local to Douglas County. We live here, okay? So we're wanting to see great national brands and retailers coming in, not to knock any of the nail salons or Dollar Generals, but we're ready to bring in more attractive businesses to the area. And in order to do that, we have to be open to then meet some of those accommodations when it comes to building size as well as parking. I want to also make sure that I take a step back. When Gary and I were building the car wash next door, we had to come and make sure that we were meeting some of the city requirements with building a biopond. So we're not some big name, big time commercial developer that's wanting to just bypass city ordinances and requirements. But we're saying this will create a tremendous hardship if this is not approved, as it will limit our ability to bring the best to Villa Rica and to our citizens. And then lastly, we also believe that being able to bring some of these national retailers to the area, that will then further attract other and more national retail brands to the area. And to give some insight to who are some of the national retailers we're talking to that are wanting to be in Mirror Lake, they're already saying, we want to be in the area. We have the traffic counts. We've done some of the demographics. If you guys can make this happen, this will be great, right? Some of those are Another Broken Egg, Eggs Up, Nothing But Cakes wanting to come. So these are places, retailers, restaurants that are wanting to come into the area and are looking for great looking locations and where the demand will exist. So I wanted to make sure that I kind of stop there. I said a lot, and see if there are any questions with the reason for our request and to look to get your support today.
Questions from council?
Well, I guess
Councilman Momtahan?
my question is, can the building, I mean, because I see you have this rendering here,
Yes.
and I'm not, I mean, is this area right here, is that supposed to be Connors Road? Because I'm
Yes.
kind of trying to follow along with the,
Yeah.
I'm trying to like place
Yeah.
each one together. Okay.
Yeah, what you're
So-
looking at there is Connors Road, what you
Okay.
pointed to.
So, I mean, could any of the concerns be handled by perhaps arranging the building in a different way, or maybe, maybe decreasing the side buffer, and then that way you'll give you more room on this side, or anything like that? Have you guys worked through all those kind of scenarios?
I will say, and I'm going to turn it over to Dara Ray, our civil engineer partner here. We flipped this building around multiple times. Number one, like I mentioned, we had to accommodate the need for a biopond as well as a retention pond in back, which then further reduced the size of this empty space because we were looking to support the city's requirements on the building of the car wash. So at this point, we've definitely evaluated all options. And so when we are saying that the options here are the best ones we have on the table to avoid those hardships where we're now talking about a much smaller building, because we would potentially lose, to be clear, based upon the staff's recommendations and the city ordinance requirements, we would lose about 1,400 square foot off the building, and we would be dropped down to approximately about 17 to 18 parking spaces. That then immediately removes us from being a viable candidate for some of these large retail brands that we're looking to bring. So absolutely, Councilman, we did explore those, but I will let Mr.
Before you do that, in fact, may I ask one more question? I guess, and I guess kind of like we saw in the last variance before you, you saw they were like in the middle of construction and they encountered this issue. And so typically that's when we encounter variances, that the owner has come in and they're ready to build, and then they encounter this parking requirement or something like that. So I understand that y'all are trying to kind of get ahead of that, and,
Yes.
and I commend that. But I guess my only concern is that we may be giving you a variance based upon speculation and not kind of what's actually out on the ground per se, right? Because if and I applaud your efforts to attract those brands that people hear about, that people want and desire.
Mhm.
But we could give a variance to this, and then years go by before anything happens, or it is some sort of retail or restaurant that could have done with less parking or a smaller building or whatever, because the economy does what the economy does. We don't have control over that. And so that's my other concern, is that we're kind of putting the cart before the horse, if you will. I mean, and I don't, I guess if one of those, companies or restaurants that you mentioned, if they were interested in building here, I don't know if you guys are doing a land lease or you're selling it outright, whatever you might do, but then they would say, okay, well, these are our requirements. Like I think you mentioned, there are some there's been rumors at least of other restaurants in the area, and they had concerns about parking and trying to fit. But if they came in and they said, well, these are our requirements and we're going to build here, it's less speculative at that time, where it's here, it's a little bit more speculative right now because we just simply don't know. And I think that's another concern of mine.
Yeah, so if I can address that. So
Yes, absolutely.
you're right, we are doing our due diligence. So in order for us to build and construct the retail plaza as the owners of the plaza, we would need to know, what are we building? Is the city forcing us to build a smaller building, right? Because we are trying to adhere to these ordinances.
Right.
So when we are talking to some of these national tenants, they're looking and already provided, we need this amount of space, nothing but cakes. I'm an eggs up. I'm another broken egg. I'm a Jim and Nick's quick to go. I need this amount of space. I'm going to need this amount of parking. So before I can go construct a building, then come ask for parking variance, I need to understand and know what size building am I building, and will I be able to meet those minimum requirements? And I want to understand that now, before we do that, as well as to support our ability to then get those letter of intent from those businesses to say, you meet our requirement, we will sign with you, go build it, we will come, right? We need that kind of order first, because without it, we are down potentially starting out building a building that would not accommodate or meet those core requirements. And we want to make sure that we have the city's full support before we go invest in building a building, and we're then unable to attract the type of retailers that we're looking for. So it's kind of I understand what you're saying, but in order to build, I need to know, and we need to know before we make this investment, do we have the support to build the building size that we're looking to build with the number of parking spaces we're looking to build, and then we can come back and discuss the building and all those other elements. But in order for us to build the building, we need the variance setback on the landscaping, because that's pushing the building back, as well as making the building smaller, as well as reducing the number of parking spaces. So that's why we're here first.
Okay. If I may ask a follow-up, and again, I mean, the economy does what the economy does, and y'all plan this out and build it out how you want. But is it y'all's intention to essentially, assuming you get approval tonight, would it be y'all's intention to go ahead and construct this and then recruit a tenant, or would you wait until you recruited the tenant first and then construct it? I mean, just kind of what's your timeline?
So we are
looking
ready
like?
to build.
Okay.
Once again, we just need to know what are we building.
Sure, okay.
And then once we get this approval, this is where we're able to confidently go and say, we're able to build this building. We got the support from the city. We got the variance approval. We do meet your requirements of parking spaces. Now, will you sign to come join us in Mirror Lake?
Right. Okay. So and that makes it, if that's the kind of the timeline that you're, traveling under, then that does make, to me, it makes it less speculative, because it sounds like the intent is to, if y'all get approved, then you're going to start working on building the building and then recruit the
Well, exactly,
final
because
user.
in some cases, in another broken egg, I can't talk to them if I don't have a minimum of 20 parking spaces.
I see.
The conversation is over. It's too
got it.
small.
Okay.
Right? So it's one of those things where we kind of need to know that first. Do we have the support of pushing the landscaping lines back? But by the way, like I mentioned, we're bringing more landscaping than what the city required. This is our way to say, look, we appreciate you accommodating and support this decision, so we will be willing to put more landscaping. And that's why if you look at the photo there that we provided you, just a visual representation of how beautiful and how large scale we're looking to go with the landscaping, because one of the staff's opinions was that we would not meet landscaping requirements because we would have limited space. But we are going to take that setback and put more in on our own investment to ensure it's beautiful.
That played, are you finished? That played into my question, because one of the recommendations by staff, if approved, was that the applicant shall provide the full number of trees and shrubs required. Even where the buffer widths are reduced, landscaping should be enhanced where applicable to enhance screening and separation. And you had mentioned something about that you were going to do even more, so that's my question.
Yes.
The whole reason the variance is needed and the reason this ordinance exists is to have that separation from the road, right?
Right.
Screening from the road. So tell me how you do that still, even though it's reduced. Is it the idea that you'll provide still the same amount of material, or it's the type of material or the density of the material that you feel like you're still meeting the intent of what the ordinance is looking for?
Yes to all. And just so we're clear, not meeting the minimum requirement of shrubs, trees, plants, but we're going to put more, just so we're clear. So there will be more shrubs, more greenery, more landscaping in that space than what the city requires. And we can ultimately provide staff the specific count of what those plants will be.
Thank you. Anything else for the applicant? All right, we'll revert back to staff. Any other questions for staff before we go to public hearing? But you have a question for staff? Yeah, we do have. You get to come back up, Ms. Carter.
What is the time frame that they would have to break ground for, if this variance were approved? How long do they have to break ground before the variance is null and void?
Well, the variance runs in perpetuity with the property.
So that is something that I would be concerned about, is making sure that we put some kind of limit, kind of to your point, Matthew, as far as they would need to go ahead and break ground, go ahead and build the building that we're approving. So then that way it's not something, the variance doesn't follow somebody else if they were to sell the property.
I'll expound. So the variance runs in perpetuity with the property, but the code also has a provision that if they do not break ground or any new development after they get zoning approval within 12 months.
Okay, that's what I'm
then
asking.
That's where it goes through a reversion process. It'd be a formalized process to revert it.
And I thought that there was a time limit on that, and I was thinking it was a year, but I wasn't sure if it was if it was a little longer than that, maybe 2 years. But okay, thank you.
ma'am.
That's what I wanted to clarify, to make sure that that was.
Anything else for Ms. Carter before we go to the public hearing?
Yeah, if I may.
Yeah, Councilman Momptan.
So, based upon the proposal that they I guess, increase the density of the landscaping, Ms. Carter, how would staff, how would staff measure that density? I mean, I know that our ordinance sets out a certain amount of trees, and, I mean, what would staff propose would be a good way to measure that density, so that way when they come in for approval, you know that they are abiding by whatever our conditions or stipulations are?
Well, the code currently has a requirement on distance for each type of tree and shrub. It varies based on size and what have you, especially for a 20-foot wide portion of landscaping. What we would likely do is review it, see if there's a way that they're able to double up on that landscaping in the front, because again, the intent is to keep people away. So the council has to determine if 5 feet from the road is enough to, and they've got to put in sidewalks or contribute to the sidewalk fund, something of that sort. So the council has to determine if 5 feet is going to be adequate enough, even at because the wideness is only 5 feet.
Right.
So, I mean, that's something that we'd have to take another look. This is our first time receiving the rendering, so staff would take some time to review this and discuss internally.
I mean, I guess if it appears that, I mean, a good portion of their proposal is 20 feet. It's mostly, I guess, this kind of area that's kind of dotted in, I guess, like a reddish, pinkish bushes.
Yes, almost directly
by
south
Connors.
of Connors. Those little small, like kind of pinkish, reddish, dark colored.
Right. That appears to
shrubs.
be kind of the major area in which they're not in the 20-foot
Correct.
range. So, I mean, could they increase the density in the area where they have 20 to make up for their lack of density or depth here, in your opinion?
Well, the code, the intent of the code is to shield the drivers along the right of way from the parking public.
Okay.
So where parking is proposed, there's a kind of a cut. I don't know if I can say that properly, but there's some sort of a cut in when you come up, starting from the east side, that bottom tree going north, then west, and you see the green trees, and then it stops where you have those smaller shrubs. There's no parking in that space, and then there's parking maybe 3/4 of the way from edge back to the other edge, from the edge of the shrubs back to the larger trees.
Right.
So as long as it's shielding that parking, because we want to make sure that there's just no interference with, distraction or people, having some issues getting in and out of the parking spaces.
Right.
So
Okay.
that really is the true intent. If, we think about accidents, we think about things like that would shield any incidents that could occur on any property.
So when you're evaluating their landscape plan, that's what you're looking for, and as long as they have trees or shrubbery in there that meets that intent, then
Correct.
they would, okay. Thank you.
There's, under recommendations F, page 9, where you list the conditions, if council considers approving, they ask, staff asked that these conditions be included. A detailed landscape plan shall be submitted for review and approved by the Community Development Department prior to the issuance of land disturbance. Has the applicant seen these? Are they agreeable to
They
those?
were provided the staff report, so I guess I don't know if you want to speak with them on that portion.
Part of it is generic, like the last one, the all building and safety and zoning.
Right.
Kind of generic, which we would require of anybody. Full number of trees and shrubs required even where the buffer widths are reduced.
Okay.
So basically a plan, submit a plan, and that it would need to be approved by community development. And the last one says, item 4, the final building footprint and permitted commercial use shall be limited to what can be supported by the number of parking spaces achievable in accordance with the city's minimum parking standards.
Correct.
Is that, yeah, Councilman
Were you
Mopey.
done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted because it addressed the landscape,
Yeah.
what you were talking about, if
yeah.
that's a condition, and did the applicants, were they agreeable with that?
So, Ms. Carter, so that is so that condition number 2 is kind of, I guess, what we're talking about, where you would just measure, okay, yes, even though the width has been decreased, the density or the amount still needs to remain. It
Right.
seems to be that's the staff's intent there.
Yes, they
Okay.
need to provide a kind of robust type of tree, a larger tree. Typically, you have a larger diameter tree that you're planting up front, so you can cover some of that and create that screening. That is the intent of the code.
Thank you.
Anything else for staff? Councilman Carter?
Yeah, on that second item of your recommendations, it says the applicants will provide the full number of trees and shrubs. What is that quantity? Do we have a number?
We do. It's based on, it's per linear foot. So based on the types of trees, they would have to provide that per linear foot, and we would go through that when the applicant submits their.
So do you feel like they can satisfy that requirement?
I don't know. I haven't seen the plan to see, because it has been engineered to my understanding, but we would address it at the time that we receive the engineer plans.
Okay.
Councilman McCoy?
I answered my own question, sorry.
Good. I do that once in a while. It's helpful. Anything else for staff? And do you need to speak to the applicant any further before we go into a public hearing? All right. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of approval of this variance? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition to approval of the variance? Easy enough. We'll revert back to council. If there's no other questions or concerns, I'll entertain a motion. No, Danny, you're supposed to do it. It's your last night. You're supposed to take all these motions.
Okay. I like the,
Kidding.
I make a motion that we approve, based on the conditions that the staff has put on this, the 4 conditions: all building, fire, lane safety, fire life safety, and zoning requirements shall be met in accordance with all applicable city codes and regulations. The applicant should provide full number of trees and shrubs required, even where buffered widths are reduced. Landscaping shall be enhanced where the applicable. To enhance screening and separation, a detailed landscape plan shall be submitted for review and approved by the Community Development Department prior to issuance of a land disturbance permit. And the final building footprint and permitted commercial use shall be limited to what can be supported by the number of parking spaces achievable in accordance with the city's minimum parking standards.
Second.
Ooh, that was a mouthful. Sorry about that. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Second?
I second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you. All right, item 4, ordinance to amend Chapter 20, Solid Waste Management, Section 2, add Article 4, recycle grease bin. Yes, this is the recycle grease bins vats of Villa Rica ordinance. Regulations to basically regulate grease bins, mostly related to restaurants that have lots of grease. Protection of stormwater, et cetera.
Oh, it's just under everyone. Oh, wait, go back. Okay, Brecca Carter, interim director for the Community Development Department. I hope you guys aren't tired of seeing me, because now we get to look at some trash and some cooking oil vats. So this particular ordinance for our proposed grease bin and vat ordinance has come before you at our work session a few months ago, and we are revisiting it now to be approved by the City Council. We've gone through revisions with staff, department heads, and the team, And I have posted this ordinance. We've sent information to all of our business owners, as well as we put it in our newsletter to ensure that we could get comments. As of 6:05, or I'll say 8 o'clock, have not received any comments, but wanted to make sure that we went through this formally. So recycle grease bin vats. I'll go through a couple examples, but a little bit of background is our commercial restaurant developers, if they are frying anything at all in that establishment, they will need to throw out their grease, their cooking oil. It is required, the state requires that they have a grease vat or a grease bin that they physically pour it in, which is separate from the grease trap that is inside the establishment. Typically, the grease vat or the bin would be outdoors, usually housed where your dumpsters are. Unfortunately, we have had a rise in the number of projects that have had overflow from those grease bins. And for the sake of the businesses, I've covered up their names. But this gives you an idea of what is out there. So if you look at the top portion, that's kind of what we're looking for. Something that's very clean. There's not any debris around it. It's enclosed where you can close the gate and cannot see it from parking, from the road. You'll see further down on the bottom left that you have one that's just sitting off the side of the street. You have another that you can see there's some spillage there on the bottom right. And I'll just go through just a couple of examples. On the northern picture, you see debris all around the vat. You can see that there's been some leakage. The one to the bottom right, just as well, located typically near or around a dumpster. And then also in the one at the top, you see there's much debris and trash around those issues. All of these issues, our code compliance team has been trying to work with these business owners to get this rectified. And as you can see here, they'll come in different shapes and sizes. And the idea behind it is for businesses to make sure that they get them pumped out in a timely manner so that they do not spill over, and when it rains, they go into our storm drains. So as you can see, that top picture is actual spillage onto some gravel that our code compliance team has had to deal with, and so on and so forth. The bottom right, even worse. And then here you have some other examples as well. So the proposed ordinance offers that we regulate the placement of the recycle bins so that we don't attract vermin, unsightliness, and public health concerns based on the grease spillage. The requirements, in a nutshell, are outlined by license renewals will require business owners to register the grease bins within 90 days of this ordinance approval. So by end of March, which is the end of our business license renewal process, we should have every restaurant that is utilizing these bins to be in compliance and have a decal, which we have someone to contact, and we know who to contact if we see some spillage. New businesses must register. We'll need their contact information, the size of the bin, the color, location, etc. And then each grease bin, as I said, mentioned earlier, will receive a decal for each business utilizing it. Some bins are utilized by 2 businesses because one may not fry as much as the other. We'll need to have that information as well. And we want to be proactive to minimize any fines that we might get from the EPD if there is spillage into our storm drains, because that is a state requirement that we adhere to. Any questions?
Questions from council? Sorry, I'm on. Questions from council? Is that a hand, Ms. Marchman? No. I want to thank the codes department for doing this. I know the first one that was brought to my attention, between the smell, attracting vermin, and the fact of runoff with rain, but they went out and tracked all these down. And the only other thing, and I think y'all did this, that's part of why maybe we didn't do this till now, is everybody's getting fair warning, advance
Yes.
warning businesses, this is what's coming, so they have time to comply and
Correct.
everything, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And that is the community development stance, is any new ordinances that are being put in place. We want to make sure our business owners are aware so that we can receive public comment from them, because we want them to be part of this process as much as we are on the staff side, to understand what those concerns are and bring them to you all.
Right, because they might even bring up something that we're not
That we
aware
hadn't
of
thought
that.
about. That's correct.
So thank you for putting this ordinance together. I really appreciate it.
Certainly.
Any other questions, comments from council? Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the requested ordinance, Chapter 20, Solid Waste Management Section, to add Article 6, Recycle Grease Bins/Vats of the Villa Rica Code of Ordinance.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. You sure had your hands full tonight with items. Thank you, appreciate it. Kay, City Manager, Ms. Hallman. First we do the report, then our added item of the line replacement.
Sure. Good
City
evening.
Manager report.
Jennifer Hallman, Interim City Manager. Here's our project update for December 2025. Can't tell as much on this screen, but what I tried to do is anything that's highlighted in yellow, which I'll choose a different color next month, is maybe some changes, because some of the projects we don't have any updates. But stormwater utility study, I believe I mentioned this last month as well. The next step will be for next month. We'll have a creation of the Stormwater Advisory Committee to assist the elected officials and city staff with the evaluation of the city stormwater management program, and this includes the public relations and education task. And so we will be asking each of y'all if you have anybody you would like to recommend or appoint at that time. For the sanitation in-house versus contract services, myself as well as Amanda, the interim finance director, we're looking over the data, the financial data for right now. Then we're going to be having a meeting with Malden and Jenkins, and then we'll get back together in the larger group to discuss the results. There's really no update right now on the north side downtown streetscape. It's still in the preliminary design. I believe the construction or the let date is in 2028, I believe. The Safe Streets for All, as you know, this was a grant funded project or professional services, with $400,000 being grant, $100,000 match. We've had two public meetings on July 17th and October the 28th. At last week's work session, Kecken Wood, who is our consultant regarding this, presented an update. And tonight, y'all actually adopted the resolution to adopt the goals to work towards a 0 traffic-related deaths by 2035 and 0 serious injuries by 2050. Our goal is to present y'all the safety action plan for next month's council meeting. I have reached out to Kecken Wood to see when they will actually send us the plan, so that y'all have plenty of time to look at it, review it, ask any questions that you have. But that is our goal. Hopefully we can do that in January. If not January, it will be February. There's no updates right now regarding the Villa Rica Parkway, other than we're still negotiating with regarding parcels and right-of-way. The Fortune Parkway, there's no update there. I think they're cleaning up or working on some of the issues that we had regarding Fortune Parkway. The North Bypass, it is expected that it will be open to traffic, open to the public on December 15th. I did reach out to GDOT. They've been in talks with Senator Bearden, and it looks like the ceremonial ribbon cutting will be scheduled early next year, possibly before the legislative session begins. So hopefully we'll be up and going, open to the public on December 15th, but we'll have the more formal ribbon cutting in January. The West Industrial Court culvert replacement. The culvert materials are going to be delivered this month. Atlanta Gas Light will look at relocating their gas main in January, and then we would be able to, or Blount Construction would be able to proceed with that construction project. The Mirror Lake Boulevard left turn. This week, actually, grading has begun, and it's going to take 2 months to complete the project, weather permitting. Punkintown Road, Phase 1, there's really no update from last month. We still have Falcon designing. They're about 90% complete with the construction plans, and they're also still continuing to work on the exhibits for the easements and right-of-way. No update right now on the South Carroll and Reed Road. Just kind of a summary. I like to keep them on here just so that we don't, out of sight, out of mind. So I just like to keep them on here, and then as we progress and get updates, I'll include them in here. Same for Connors Road Park and Fortune Park at Cluckhorn, where staff is just looking at the different options for both of those. Good news, talking about the quick wins or the easy wins. Hopefully you've noticed the downtown lighting has been completed. We appreciate Georgia Power doing that, and I had Dukes go out and take pictures so we can see how lit up it is now. The Gold Dust Pickleball Courts is moving along. Signature Courts has laser graded, installed gravel base, and paved the site, and they're also are in the process of installing fencing and light poles. Also, the Gold Dust bathrooms near the pickleball courts, the building maintenance team, they're building this new restroom facility. They've done the grading, the footing, the slab. They're going to be doing the plumbing, electrical. And Georgia Power has run new service for the restrooms and the pickleball courts. So that's an updated picture of the restroom facility.
Can I stop you right there just for a moment? The building maintenance team is building the new restroom facility at the pickleball facility. Any idea what we are saving in cost by the fact that we're able to do this with the skill level that we have on staff compared to if we had to contract this out? I mean, we've got some skilled people. I mean, just the fact that y'all are doing this in addition to all your work, right? This is addition to all the regular work you usually do.
Yes, ma'am. Looking at similar projects and what they wanted for kits and whatnot, we're probably going to save around $180,000 by doing it in-house ourselves. So, yeah, we're really under budget on it than what we thought. So we're excited about it.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Tracy.
Again, our Public Works team, they're wrapping up the tennis court sub base. As you know, we had a subpar base, and so we had to get our Public Works team to go in there and fix that before Signature Courts can continue with the tennis courts. So yes, we have very, very talented staff that definitely save a lot of money on all of these capital projects that we're able to do. As mentioned earlier, the December events, I don't have the pictures right now, but it was a wonderful time by all. And again, the staff did a tremendous job. I know it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of preparation goes into this. And the picture at the bottom right is one that lovely Michael Valentine had posted, and we were able to, he put some snow in there, so it made it a little bit more Christmassy, but it was a beautiful picture. Speaking of our staff, I call them our Christmas, yes, I call them our Christmas elves. I hope they don't kill me for nicknaming them that. They have been building the props for the breakfast and lunch with Santa event. So you can see the sleigh when it was in construction, and then now it's all painted. And then the little slope, they built that, and then there it is at the V-Plex. So speaking of that, the event that's coming up is the Breakfast with Santa this coming Saturday from 9 to 11, and the Lunch with Santa from 1 to 3. And then we also get to use the props for the employee Christmas luncheon that we have, as well as I believe the police department's Christmas party as well. So we really appreciate the work that goes into that too. This is just a summary of the library events. There's also a link attached, so when you go online to the website, you can see and click on that, and it will take you to this calendar for the library. They have a lot of things going on the month of December, and the same for the senior center. Last but certainly not least, we've got about 2 more weeks of the Winter Wonderland train at the Pine Mountain Gold Museum. So you can go online, scan the barcode, get your tickets, and enjoy the ride. And that is it.
How's the numbers out there, just out of curiosity real quick? I know weather can impact some nights.
I haven't had an update yet. Usually
Okay.
when the event's over, he usually
Sure.
sends me all the statistical data.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good report.
Well, I have a question.
Councilman
I'm not going to let y'all go. Actually, this is probably more for Mark than you, but it's the Mirror Lake left turn. Is that it says it's going to be done in a couple months. That's going to be February. Aren't we not supposed to be paving in January and February because of the cold? Depends. Because I think I brought this up when we were doing it.
We can pave when it's 45 degrees and higher and rising. But no, if it's less than that, no, we will not pave.
Okay. So basically, when y'all say weather permitting, that means if we have a month of 40 and 30 degree weather, we're probably not paving.
Probably not, but every once in a while you get lucky.
Okay. I just
Hopefully.
wanted to clarify.
I mean, the crazy Georgia weather we have, you can be in shorts one day, and the next thing you know, you got to have a jacket 48 hours later. So, yeah, weather permitting, all depends, doesn't it? Okay, water line replacement.
I've got it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
All right. Good evening, John Bain, Interim Deputy City Manager, Utilities Director. This request is for a water line improvement project along Highway 61 and Old Stone and North Avenue. This is part of a larger previously funded project funded through GFA loan. You may recall we had a water line improvements project that essentially started downtown and runs up to just past the hospital. We started that project, we did the first portion of it this past year, which was from Stone Street to Temple Street to North Carroll and along along Church Street, because we wanted to get that in prior to the paving of Church Street. So we completed that southern portion of the project. This is the northern portion of the project, which essentially relocates the water line rather than going through the Tanner property to go around the Tanner property. And this is needed because of the Tanner expansion project. So Tanner is expanding their property. They're building the new wing. Our utilities are going to be in the way of that construction. So we're redirecting, our request is to redirect the water line to go around that property. We'll start it along Old Stone and North Avenue, and we'll go west to 61 Dallas Highway, and then follow Dallas Highway back north to north of the hospital. So we're essentially just moving that water line away from their property and project. But it is part of this larger project that was approved some time ago for the North Avenue Downtown Waterline Project. This is just the north end of that project that we'd like to go ahead and move forward with. So Carter and Sloop put together a bid package. The bid opening was actually the morning after the City Council work session, Wednesday morning. Got the recommendation list together. You'll see we had 11 results come in from the bid package, with Smith Pipeline being the lowest at $414,041. We did include in this request $50,000 for engineering fees, contract administration, and construction oversight, which brings the total request to $464,041. We also got a recommendation from Carter and Sloop to award the project to Smith Pipeline, as they have worked with them previously, and they have no contingency from the last couple paragraphs there. of that page that they recommend using Smith Pipeline. But essentially, it's just relocating the water line out from the Tanner project and their property. Tanner is responsible for all utility relocation within their property. So they're working on that now, where they're moving their meter vaults and some other items and installing some inserter valves to redirect some flow from within the property. But we need to relocate our own water line outside the property and around the property.
Thank you, appreciate it. I know a lot of times citizens don't see this, right? It's not the fluffy stuff. We can see when the road gets paved, but we seriously are knocking away slowly, just like coming down out here, going up Church Street. I know North Avenue is a gargantuan project in the future, but we're getting there, aren't we, Mark? You know, gradually we're getting that old infrastructure and replacing it, so it's good to see. It may not be fun, but it sure is necessary. Any questions from council on this?
I have a question.
Wait, yeah, Councilman
So,
Mumtahan.
John, I mean, if we're moving it because of Tanner, why isn't Tanner carrying the full freight on this? Why
Well,
are
there
we paying
are
for it?
aspects of the project that Tanner is carrying.
Okay.
So it's my understanding that, I understand the road, I believe, previously went straight north at North Avenue through that
Right.
property. The water lines remain there from that time on, including when and after Tanner was built.
Right.
So all of Tanner's connections, which are several, there are multiple connections for that complex because it was built out over time, of course. So they have connections off of Old Stone, they have connections off of Dallas, they have connections within the property. We also have wastewater utilities going through that project as well, along the old road route,
Right.
street route. So this is essentially, what this is actually part of our entire project, the water line replacement project from downtown to North Avenue. This is part of that project, but I think the timing is that we need to do this now because of the expansion. But this was part of our public utility. Their private utilities, they're fully responsible for, but it's our public utility that is actually on their property that we're pulling away and getting off to our right of way.
Okay. I mean, why didn't we not do this when they took over that property? Why did we just leave all this there? Why didn't we have,
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm sorry I can't answer that. I
understand.
I don't know.
I just feel
I'm
like
thinking maybe the grid wasn't there that's there now
We,
by coming up Church Street, because North
Well, I mean-
Avenue used to go right past where the emergency room got expanded.
Right.
we're essentially relocating the
our road
old
went-
North Avenue, what was in the old North Avenue right away that they took over. So why
Yeah.
didn't we, when they were doing that construction, we should,
well, I think that is a good point, though. I think because of other expansion projects that happened previously, we now have the infrastructure in place where it makes sense to pull this off now. Because we
Okay.
installed some 10-inch water mains in some other areas. So we've been building this 10-inch grid, if you will, around the center part of the city. So we've constructed other pieces of that. And now that those pieces are in place, it makes it easier. But yeah, you're right. It seems like it would have been a good time to move.
Yeah, I mean,
Water
just-
line would be during the original construction of the whole
Right.
the hospital, but I don't.
and maybe you could have got Tanner to pay for it since they're now taking over a road bed. And,
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
It's too late, Councilman.
yes, I know.
But John, one time there was
Councilman
talk
Marchman.
about doing a water line for Clegan and Anderson Road. Is that still in the plan?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
There's been a part of that replaced. We still have plans to connect the ends to this larger grid I mentioned, yes.
Oh, okay. Because I know about a week or two ago, some of the over on off of Clegan, there I think it was Myrtle Street, and they were having a problem with one house didn't have any water, and the other one the water pressure was so low that.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if that's still in the plans to do that area.
Yes, it is, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and in the interim, if anyone has a problem with pressure, flow, water quality, anything like that, I just encourage them to reach out to staff, and we'd be glad to go out there and address the issue.
Yeah,
Typically, we can get out there and get it addressed right
They
away.
did, cause they contacted me and I got with the you know, the people that was on call.
Mhm.
And they did go out that day and over into the night to
Yeah.
get it straightened out.
Yeah, I recall that.
So
That issue, yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Anything else from council?
Teresa, would you scroll down a little bit so we get the motion on there? Whoop, and blow it up a notch.
I couldn't quite catch what you said, Mr.
We
Carter.
need to see the
Okay.
motion because we don't have a copy.
Oh,
of it.
it's not there. Yeah, oh, that's right, we have no cover sheet,
I have
so
it now.
we need to create a motion.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, the cover sheet. That's what Danny was asking, if they can scroll down so
Yeah, so
we
I
can
can see
see the
it.
motion. I heard it from over here.
Okay, you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
I move to authorize the mayor to award the Highway 61/Old Stone Road Water Recollection, whatever that word is, at a total project cost of $464,041 with a construction awarded to Smith Pipeline Incorporated at a cost of $414,041.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may, earlier, whenever you approved and called out the consent agenda, there is one item that at work session, the council had decided to put on consent agenda that inadvertently was not moved over or copied over appropriately. That is the Norfolk Southern land lease renewal. If it pleases, could it move
Absolutely.
back onto consent?
Yeah,
And
okay.
y'all, do they need to
Legal,
do
how do we have to do that? It was on consent.
Probably just
Do it separately?
do it separately.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I apologize.
It happens. Okay, so we need a motion having to do with our lease agreement with Norfolk Southern.
You gonna put that on the screen?
I'm going to pull up the work session so that it can have on there.
Pardon? That would be fine, and then we can just say ditto, what Ms. Hallman said.
Yes. I move to approve the Norfolk Southern lease renewal and the mayor and/or city manager to sign all related documents.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? That was easy. No big deal. Got left off, we took care of it. We're going to be moving into executive session at this time. Is either Mr. Mecklin or Ms. Smith, who's in charge of explaining the purpose for our session?
We are going to move into executive session to discuss or vote to enter into a contract to purchase, dispose of, or lease property pursuant to OCGA 50-14-3B1D, and to discuss or deliberate upon cybersecurity plans, procedures, and contracts regarding the provision of cybersecurity services pursuant to Georgia Code Section 50-14-3B5, and finally pursuant to attorney-client privilege as provided by Georgia Code Section 50-14-21, a meeting that would generally be open but is closed to the public in order to consult with legal counsel pertaining to pending or potential litigation, settlement, claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions.
I'll
We have
make
a
a
motion
motion.
to move into out of regular into executive session.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Double seconds. All in favor? No opposed. Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion, we return to regular session.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we are now back in regular session.
I have another
Ms.
motion.
Smith, Mr. Mecklin, who's, okay.
Carter for the motions.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the purchase of tax parcel number V05-015-0048.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I have another motion to approve the mediation settlement agreement in the matter of John and Jody Mount versus City of Villa Rica et al., and to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement on behalf of the City of Villa Rica.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous.
I move to adjourn. Or can I not do that yet?
No, please do.
I move to adjourn.
It's the last
Second.
thing you get to do, right? Move to adjourn. We have a second. All